Hey guys, in this video I want to talk about Fender Stratocasters and why they are so awesome and some of the drawbacks. So if you haven't seen my other videos, this is my Mexican Stratocaster which has been customized. If you notice, I don't have a second tone knob here. I also have a bunch of switches and a shortened tremolo arm and also GraphTech string saver saddles. But otherwise, it's just like your stock Stratocaster and can do all of your stock Stratocaster sounds. So out of the box, the guitar that I will be talking about, the Fender Stratocaster, some of the good things about it. First of all, I want to tell you that this design is actually remarkable. It was released in 1954, so over 60 years ago. And to this day, this shape is still associated with rock music, rock guitar, electric guitar. Back then, there was no rock music as we know it. There was no distortion. It was mostly country music. This design is incredibly ergonomic. You can reach your higher frets no problem with the cutaways. It also has the belly cut. So it's a revolutionary design. The whammy system was also revolutionary when it was released. Before that, you had Bigsby's that did not really have a whole lot of range. It was maybe a tone at most down, and the way the whammy, that tremolo whammy system, whatever you call it, worked is that the strings actually ground against the saddle, so it wasn't really efficient, and it eventually caused your strings to break. And in reality, you would never be able to use it the way Jeff Beck, for example, uses it. Just maybe a slight shimmer at the end of the song or something along those lines. But this design is just incredible. How the neck is bolt-on, so you can just replace the whole neck, as opposed to good luck doing that with your Gibson, having to remove the neck and glue it back in, just very efficient. The knob, the volume knob is right there, so you can, in theory, use your pinky to kind of do the swells or like turn it up, turn it down while you're playing. In reality, though, I find that this position, even though it sort of works, the whammy kind of gets in the way for me personally. So it's like, it's here, but I don't know. I've been playing my Brian May guitars a lot, and on the Brian May guitar, the volume is actually like here, where the sort of the tone knob would be, and I find it's easier to reach there because the whammy does not get in the way. So some of the advantages, besides the ergonomics of this guitar, I find that still to this day, this Stratocaster with Texas Special pickups, I can really clean up the sound very, very easily with just the volume knob. No other guitar gives me this just incredible clarity. If I roll it down to, as you know, I use my distortion pedal on all the time. It's not like ridiculously dirty, but on 5, this guitar sounds as clean as it could possibly sound. It just chimes. And then if I turn up the volume to 8 or 10, it just screams, especially live. So there's something about single coils and this type of a capacitor in the volume knob that just really gives you so much flexibility. So the whammy system, I can't tell you how many people just like, nope, my Strat won't stay in tune, I never use the whammy. BS. If you set it up right, your Stratocaster, even without any sort of a clamp here or anything, can stay in tune very, very, very well. This guitar, once I figured out what some of the shortcomings were, the whole set, I just play, tune it once, use the whammy as much as I want, and it stays more in tune than some of my other guitars. A short note about that. So first of all, it's not a floating tremolo, which I feel helps it stay better in tune. So meaning that it does not go up, it only goes down. So there's no way that the whammy can kind of get stuck in the up position as opposed to the middle. So it's always, this is the 0 point for the tuning. You can only go down. And that, to me, eliminates a whole bunch of tuning problems. And also putting the strings correctly, meaning that it's nice and tight. You have a loop on the top and a loop of the bottom on the bottom of the string, and the tip is held between these two loops, and that's it. It's not like 20 loops. It's not half of a loop. It's this. And this, without any sort of locking tuners, makes the tuning incredibly stable. And I also use nut sauce. Nut sauce is a must for all of your guitars, I even use it on the violin, on the nut of the violin, so that the string does not get stuck. That product is, stupid as it sounds, revolutionized guitar playing for me personally. Okay, so you also have a great variety of sounds, and single coils have a distinct kind of sonic quality to them. They do have a lot of clarity, but they don't really sustain as much as humbuckers, but they do have that just very, to me, pleasant kind of a sound, very warm. And you have 3 pickups, and on modern Stratocasters you can do the in-between positions. They have quacky sort of sound quality to them, and it's a lot of variety. You can play blues, you can play rock, you can play funk. This guitar can do it all. The tone, I don't personally touch this knob, but you can also dial it down to have more of a jazz sound. So some of the drawbacks: the guitar by itself, comparatively speaking, hums like crazy. I don't know what it is, but just moving it up or down or like this, compared to my other guitars, it hums. It also sounds a lot brighter than my Brian May guitar, for example. Obviously, humbuckers, yeah. But this guitar just, at first when I got this guitar, I thought it was broken because it was just like that. But that's the thing with them. You have to just dial down your highs a little bit. And for some reason, this particular guitar, my home, when I practice it, it's just, some of the noise is just horrible. But all the live situations, there's no hum. I don't know. It's barely there. Maybe it's the louder you turn up, the kind of the harder it is to hear. Yeah, so it's a great guitar. What else? What are some of the drawbacks? This headstock design. There's this annoying issue which I personally saw with putting a piece of tape here. Is there's sympathetic resonance. Like this note is not bad, but the G string sounds 2 octaves higher. So you strum it and then you just hear this like really high pitched G, easy to sell. Put some tape, or you can put another string guard here, and that will eliminate that problem. Similarly, the springs here also can be noisy, but if you tighten it like I did, so it's not floating, I don't ever experience any problems there. Obviously, the radius of the neck depends on which model you have. There's so many different varieties. In the beginning it was big, chunky, but then they started kind of mainly through mistakes. Like somebody made it thinner, and then they just gave those profiles different names: D shape, V shape, etc. So there's this. I think this is just sort of modern, slim. I don't even know. It feels good to me, but certainly different from my Gibson or my Brian May. It's definitely a lot thinner. This guitar also, the advantage of not having a floating tremolo, you can do behind the nut bends, like your other strings don't lower in pitch if you do behind it, or if you do a bend, like you bend one string, the other one stays in the same. You can play country music. This pretty much, with all due respect to all your Telecaster lovers, this can do a pretty good Telecaster imitation with some EQing, especially with my customization. I can get these two pickups together, and that's your middle position on the Telecaster switch. It's also very balanced. It just feels like just wants to be played. You wear it like it just becomes a part of you. It does not neck dive. It does not, like, nothing sticks out, no sharp edges. It just, you play it and it just becomes you. So it's great. Did I miss anything? Well, in short, this guitar that revolutionized electric guitar construction is the pinnacle of electric guitar design. To this day, and for another 100 years, this will forever be associated with rock music, electric guitar. Everything about it is great, minus the single coil hum, but you can easily overcome that by, first of all, standing in reference to your amp. Like if you are perpendicular to your amp, it's going to hum, but if you are in the same parallel plane to your amp, then there's no noise. And that's actually a really neat trick, especially in the studio. If you really want to use your vintage Stratocaster that hums, you have to kind of find that position when you're in parallel to the amp, and the noise, the hum just completely disappears. You tilt it, it's back. So you have to like really find that position, and that's how all of those classic records were recorded. I mean, how do you think they dealt with the hum? They didn't have noise canceling stacked humbuckers, so that's what they had to deal with. This output jack, actually, I'm not sure that this is a great position. I think just down here is better, but I don't know. I like it. It's very ergonomic. You just plug it in, go take your cable around your strap, and it's pretty secure. The only thing is that these things do loosen up. The nut here always loosens up. So what I did is I double knotted it. I have two nuts here, and it's a simple hack. One nut holding the other one in place. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The awesome Fender Stratocaster that to this day is still relevant and awesome for some Stevie Ray Vaughan tones, for some funky tones, for your David Gilmour sounds, even jazz or country. It can do it all. Thank you.